Good morning, everyone.
Today is a pretty special day.
A day for cleanliness.
A day for thoughtfulness.
A day for remembrance.
My original plan for today was to show you guys what's in that envelope over there on the passenger seat, which is by far the weirdest thing I have ever bought from Disneyland.
But there's just too much going on. Today, as I film this, is December 15th, 2016.
A day with a lot of significance.
Not only because they finally opened the new bag check and x-ray security station over here by the parking structure,
but today is also a very significant anniversary. But let's get in the park first.
oh, look at that. No more bag check and security awnings in front of the parks.
Oh, this is so much better.
Wow, yes, that is awesome. Goodbye, bag check.
Now it really feels like we're back
At Disneyland.
Well, the bag check being gone from the front gate is the happy part of today.
But weirdly enough, as we pass under this tunnel, here comes the sad part.
Because today is December 15th, 2016.
Which is the 50th anniversary of the day that Walt Disney,
The man who created all this,
passed away.
on December 15th, 1966, Walt Disney left this world for the next one.
The man, the myth, the legend that brought joy to millions was gone.
The crazy part was that Walt Disney was only 65 years old when he passed away.
But a lifetime of smoking cigarettes had caught up to Walt, and he had a lung removed.
And basically died from complications shortly thereafter.
Now, I was born only about 2 miles from here.
My parents and grandparents all lived within a mile of Disneyland growing up.
I even went to Walt Disney Elementary School as a kid.
So Walt Disney has always loomed large in my life.
And the older I got, especially once I got past my funky teenage I'm too cool for Disney age,
The more I researched the man behind the myth.
I've actually traveled all over the United States visiting places significant in the life of Walt Disney.
As you can imagine, Walt Disney Elementary School had a lot of books about Walt Disney in the library.
So even starting as a kid, I read every book about Walt Disney that I could get my grubby little paws on.
And the more that I learned about the man,
Whether by reading books about him, walking a mile in his footsteps, or talking to people who knew him,
the more I've come to admire and respect him.
to put it bluntly, Walt Disney is my hero.
So on this, the 50th anniversary of his passing, how could I not come to Disneyland?
Other than by our direct descendants, how many of us are going to be remembered in 50 years?
Think about most of our jobs, including mine. How many of us are going to have work out there in 50 years that's still making a difference?
Yet look around you here. Walt Disney's legacy is still alive and well. Millions of people
All over the world are having fun every year.
creating lasting, lifelong memories, largely because of the legacy of one
And
man.
I'm just talking about the theme parks.
What about the movies and the characters that he created? Billions of people from every country on earth
Except maybe North Korea.
have enjoyed and been influenced by the characters created
By the incredible company started by one man.
in a garage.
A young boy who used to doodle and dream under a tree on his father's farm in the Midwest.
Suffered through many failures and defeats to end up as a huge Hollywood success
And then eventually become the innovative visionary.
that created Disneyland.
50 years ago today, the world lost one of the greatest champions for creativity
For childhood, for storytelling, and for imagination.
that it had ever seen.
Now, 2 years ago, I visited the hospital where Walt died, and of course, Walt Disney's grave, to talk about the story of his passing.
I don't think that there's much that I can add to that story, so I'll link that video down below.
So today, rather than telling that story again, I decided to come down to Disneyland.
And pay my respects another way.
There's lots of news and camera crews around today talking about the 50th anniversary of Walt's passing. Normally, December 15th passes at Disneyland without too much thought, but since it's the 50th anniversary of the death of Walt Disney, Disneyland has come up with a way to celebrate Walt's legacy.
With Walt Week.
Look at this sign here, Walt Week, celebrating a legacy of imagination, creativity, and innovation. Disney theme parks around the world are coming together to celebrate the enduring legacy of Walt Disney, who passed away 50 years ago on December 15th, 1966.
His boundless creativity, vibrant imagination, and constant desire to innovate
Remain pillars of the Walt Disney Company today.
right in the gullet.
I think a duck spit in my eye.
Let's go inside and see what we can see.
Of course, whenever you enter the Opera House, you have to pass this portrait of Walt walking under the castle and one of the benches from the Griffith Park merry-go-round,
Where supposedly Walt came up with the idea for Disneyland.
So really, what better place to celebrate Walt. And here it is, the memorial wall. This is where we can get a little paper shaped like Mickey Mouse and leave a message for Walt.
So all these, one from each theme park around the world, are all going to be displayed at D23 in July.
All right, let's see here. Okay, I've got my message for Walt. These are pretty cool. They're stickers, so they're sticking them to this board over here. And I think this is going to be up all week, so if you get a chance to come down to Disneyland, leave a message for Walt. There it is, my message for Walt. I take it back, by the way. They informed me that that's actually only up today, so they should probably rename it Walt Day instead of Walt Week. Not sure what's going in here for the rest of the week. You know, it's way more than just Disneyland for me. The more that I traveled and learned about the backstory behind Disneyland and about Walt Disney himself, in particular how Walt Disney came from nothing, had nothing, and then ended up creating all this and making all these people happy, all because he never gave up on his crazy, ridiculous dreams, inspired me beyond what I can possibly say. The more I learned about Walt's story, the more motivation I had to create my own story. The more I learned about the way that Walt never gave up and found all these other people to help him create his vision, the more I had the courage to believe in my own crazy visions and dreams. So as much as I love Disneyland, and as much as I think Disneyland really sums up the legacy of Walt Disney, I don't think that I can end today's adventure here. So it's time for us to leave Disneyland and head north up the freeway. This is gonna take an hour or so, and maybe quite a bit longer. So instead of showing you guys how much fun I'm having once I hit LA traffic, while I drive, why don't you take a look at some of our past adventures together, exploring the life of Walt Disney. We're back at Walt Disney's boyhood home. This was once old Elias Disney's farm, and Walt Disney spent at least the most memorable and most beloved years of his childhood right here in this house. In the 1920s, Walt and Roy purchased adjoining lots here off of Lyric Avenue. You can imagine young Walt Disney as a child played in these exact fields. He walked over this exact ground. This is what they called Walt's dreaming tree. Kansas Avenue, Marceline, Missouri. Or as it's better known to Disney fans, the original Main Street, USA. Here's the Uptown Theater where Walt Disney and Roy Disney came back. What the? Ghost! Why? Why, Walt's ghost? The path to the barn is lined with signs that sort of explain the significance of it and the history behind it. All right, let's check out the inside. Okay, here it is, the new inscription. Justin Scarred and the Sometimes Smile. That's you guys. The city of Los Angeles decided to place this historical marker to commemorate the lost glory. With the crazy success of all his animated films, he soon moved here into the Los Feliz Hills to this mighty mansion. Disney Drive, hey, Disney World. When the town named their elementary school after him, Walt sent studio artists to decorate the gym with Disney characters. When Walt Disney arrived here in the early 1920s, this was his uncle Robert Disney's house. Look at this. That is so cool. No way of knowing which room Walt slept in, huh? One of these rooms. The Disney brothers moved their operation into this spot right here. And this became the Disney Brothers Studio, the future Walt Disney Studios. Walt Disney's original broken skate deck. I'm putting this on eBay. Pretty inspiring. One little boy resting in the shade of a tree out here on his father's farm, dreaming. But this is actually a reconstruction of the barn from Walt Disney's backyard in Los Angeles. He called it his happy place. Walt Disney's barn. Kind of loud, sorry. Walt Disney's personal backyard barn. Let's go in it. Okay. So here we go. Walt Disney's. So this is actually Walt's barn. Here's Walt's sink. There's Walt's shaving kit. Here's the mirror. Look at yourselves. Whoa. Walt bench. You can actually have a guided tour of Walt's garage and check it out yourself. This is the original Coke corner. Weird. Just checking to see if there's one of those 50-50 light bulbs from my Weird Things video. There is none. This is probably the craziest thing in the whole museum. These are the earliest known drawings of Mickey Mouse. And unlike the Griffith Park bench at Disneyland, guests can actually sit down on this one. I love you, Bench. But just as you're on the point of being overwhelmed, the museum skillfully brings us back to Walt in his final days before leading us through the final rooms commemorating the passing of this visionary giant. I'm not crying. My eyes are just sweaty with respect. There he is. This is where we want to be. Well, we're back at Walt Disney's grave. It took a while to get here up to Forest Lawn in Glendale, but it's worth the trip to pay my respects today. And now I have a different note to leave up here. But I think this one is just going to be between me and Walt. Okay. Time to go. Fitting that Walt Disney is buried near the Court of Freedom. That man loved his country, and to some of us, he's a true American hero. Here we are. Wow. It's been a long time since I've been here. I decided to bring some Christmas stuff instead of the usual flowers. It's very quiet out here today. No one's here but me at the moment. But you can see that there have been a few people that have come by and left some fresh flowers. It's really easy to forget that all that crazy stuff, all those movies, all those theme parks, all those memories started with one man. Today, all my thoughts and prayers and remembrances and good vibes are with the Disney family. It's easy to forget that Walt was a grandpa and a great-grandpa, and now probably a great-great-grandpa, and that his relatives are still alive today. I hope he knows how much he meant to so many, and how much he still means to some of us. This is for you, Walt. Thank you for all the inspiration. You'll have to excuse me for a second. Just want to have a word. Funny, isn't it? There's no way I possibly could have known Walt. But the man, and his work at least, really honestly saved my life in a way. What a wonderful thing to be able to make people smile, not just in this world, but from the next world too. I don't know much about the afterlife because I've never been there, but I'd like to think that Walt knows that we're here and that we remember. I know normally we run around on this channel all loosey-goosey, having fun, having a good time, and I know this is a little more somber and serious. But remember, it's not always all about mourning the loss of someone. It's also about celebrating their legacy, and in Walt's case, boy, what a legacy. Thank you all for coming along today and helping me to visit Walt's grave and pay our respects to the man who made millions of us happy. Rest in peace, Walt. You deserve it. He's done his duty. He's gone home to sleep well. Thank you guys for sharing this moment with me. I will be back later. I love you all. Goodbye.
You enjoy the show, and incidentally, have a handkerchief handy. If you're like me, you're not only going to laugh a lot, but you're going to shed a few happy tears. So thanks for coming, and again, I'm sorry I can't be there with you personally for this occasion. I'd give anything to be there with you, but this seems to be one of those times I'm tied down here at the studio night and day.